This episode of Crushed Custard looks at the 50th, or should that be 52nd Anniversary Edition of Machine Head.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the latest episode of Crushed Custard. One look behind me will tell you exactly what we are going to be talking about today, and we're going to be talking about the new 50th, or should that be 52nd, Anniversary Edition of Machine Head by Deep Purple. Okay then, well, as a lot of you may well know, this particular edition of Machine Head has met with a mixed reception from Deep Purple fans across the globe. One or two are heralding it as superb, and one or two are heralding it as a disaster. So, where do I stand on that then? Well, I don't think it's a disaster, but I don't think it's quite superb either. So let's have a look then, and what we'll do, I'll try and point out to you, if I can, where I think a lot of the hardcore Deep Purple fans are disappointed with how this has happened. So we can go straight off the bat, straight away. The first thing that most Deep Purple fans, and probably anybody who thinks about it will be annoyed about, is this 50th anniversary. It isn't the 50th anniversary, it's the 52nd anniversary. Now, if you were planning on putting this out for the 50th anniversary and it's 2 years late, don't put the 50th sticker on it. It doesn't need to have 50 on there. There's no relevance to it. It's no more relevant if it was 50 than if it was 52. It doesn't need that. It just needs to be called a new mix, a super deluxe box, whatever you want to call it. But you don't need to put 50 on there, because that is just asking for people to pick holes in it, and that is what they're doing. Secondly, and this is what I don't agree with, you've got the logo here, this Deep Purple logo. That Deep Purple logo is associated in hardcore Deep Purple fans' eyes as the Mark III logo. The version of Deep Purple that came after this one, the one with David Cordell and Glenn Hughes instead of Ian Gillan and Roger Glover, they don't think that it's got any part on a Mark II release. And I can see where they're coming from, but personally I think it's the best Deep Purple logo there's been, and so don't change the logo on the actual cover, but to use it for promotional purposes, I haven't got a problem with that. I think that's okay. The next thing that gets you is, I can't quite work out what this is trying to be, because is it trying to appeal to hardcore fans and collectors who've already got numerous copies of Machine Head and have already got quite a lot of the stuff that's included in here? Or is it aimed at casual fans or new fans? Now, it misses the target, if you like, with every single one of them in some degree. So let's take a look at what's in it and who it might appeal to. Now, the main selling point for this is quite obviously the new mix, the Dweezil Zappa remix. Now, that's the thing that's got a lot of people going straight away. A lot of people can't get their head round why it's Dweezil Zappa. Now, all I can say is, why not Dweezil Zappa? He's as good as anybody else to do it. Who else would have wanted to do it? I don't know. Was anybody else asked? I don't know. Maybe you initially look at the band, but Roger Glover's already done a remix for the 25-year remix. I wouldn't have thought Ian Pace or Ian Gillan would be overly keen on getting involved in a remix. So, who are you going to get to do it? I suppose it's a gimmicky thing, isn't it, with Frank Zappa being there at the gig where the flare gun was set off and all that sort of stuff, and being included in the lyrics to Smoke on the Water. That makes it look a little bit gimmicky. So whether that actually takes away from it or not, I don't know. It's a funny thing. I mean, somebody say you might as well get the son of the bloke who shot the flare gun to come in and remix it. Oh, that's just silly. But anyway, that's one of the problems that a lot of people, hardcore Deep Purple fans, have got with it. Because, and don't forget, I know a lot of these people, they don't really like outsiders coming in and tinkering with purple stuff. And it's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? It's a difficult thing to sort of argue a case for, because if you've got an album that is as well known and as good as this, it's very difficult to improve on it. Now, the interesting thing for me, especially after the way a lot of people have totally rubbished this Dweezil Zappa mix, is that when the Roger Glover remix came out for the 25-year remaster, that was radically different to the original mix, because it had got different solos, it had got extended bits at the end, all the tracks finished rather than faded out, and you got studio chatter in between the songs. Everybody loved that because it was new, it was fresh, it was a different take on Machine Head, and I think most importantly, it was Roger Glover that had done it. One of the reasons that people don't like this one is because Dweezil Zappa's done it, and they can't see past the gimmick of him being the son of Frank Zappa. Anyway, on to that. What do I think of that mix? Well, let's get one thing clear. It is different to the original mix, of course it is. There's a lot of things that have been brought in, lots of embellishments. Maybe the vocals might be a little bit higher in the mix, maybe the keyboards are a little bit higher in the mix. There are some things that have been lost away and have been brought up. There's a few sound effect things in there that maybe people are just not used to yet, and that's why they don't like it. I think it makes it all a little bit interesting, a little bit different. It's not going to stop me listening to the original one. It's not going to stop me listening to the Roger Glover one, which incidentally is the one I listen to the most now. But now we've got this one as well. Nobody's saying you've only got to listen to this one. You can listen to all of them. This one is interesting, and it's got its high points. It's good, especially the way that they've put When a Blind Man Cries in between Lazy and Space Trucking. When I saw that, I thought, oh no, that's going to cause a right uproar, because you've ruined the flow of the album, you've changed the order, and you can't do that. People are going to go up the wall. But when you listen to it, it works. It's a perfect place for it. You'd think, well, it's a slow ballady song, you want to stick it at the end of the side or something. But no, it works perfectly where it is. The stupid thing is that on the CD, because the CD's got the Dweezil Zappa remix, and it's also got a remaster from the original mix on the same disc. But they've put it at the end of that, which makes no sense at all to me. If you've decided for the record, it makes sense to put it in between Lazy and Space Trucking. Why not put it between Lazy and Space Trucking on the CD as well? A little bit odd, that. And that's one of the problems that we always get, isn't it, with these Deep Purple things, is that there's always niggling little things that they get wrong, like the logo, like the 50 years is 52 years and all that stuff. And so those things don't help when you're trying to win people over. But what I would say to people is, if you've just heard from hardcore Deep Purple fans that the Dweezil Zappa mix of Machine Head is awful, it isn't. Is it better than the Roger Glover remix? Well, I don't think so. Is it better than the original mix? Well, of course it isn't better. It's different, and that's the point. It wasn't made to be better, it was made to be different, and that's the whole point. And that's what you've got to do with it. You've got to come to it with fresh ears, with new ears, and say, I'm prepared to listen to this and take it for what it is. Not say, oh, they've ruined that bit, the keyboards are too high, the vocals are too high, the guitar's too low. That's not the point, you know. So it really has divided a lot of people who I've known for a while, and I respect their opinions. And on the one hand, some people are saying, yeah, this is really exciting, it's good, it's nice, I like it, it's different, it's change. And other people are going, oh my goodness, this is awful, I'm never going to listen to that ever again. Crazy. Anyway, there you go. That's the remix. I've got one thing that I need to clarify that I don't know or not. Smoke on the Water is about 30 seconds longer. It's got a different ending. Well, not a different ending, it's a slightly longer ending. And there's a bit of ad-libbing from Ian Gillan. And some extra little bits of vocals put in there, including that line, break a leg, Frank, which of course a lot of people initially probably thought that was them being horrible to Frank Zappa. It's not, it's a theatrical term. You tell somebody to break a leg, that means go and have a good gig. Now, in the live version of Smoke on the Water from the BBC in concert, Ian Gillan says, break a leg, Frank. Did he ever say that in the studio? Has that been lifted from the BBC in concert and put in, or did he actually say it in the studio and it was faded out? I've listened to it a lot since I got it, and I'll continue to listen to it. Will it be my reference go-to copy? No, of course it won't. But I'm still glad I've got it. Now, let's get on to the package and see what else is in it. Well, first of all, let's take a quick look at the vinyl. So, there's the vinyl. You can see there, look. It's in that lovely sort of smoky, sort of purple stuff in a polyline sleeve, which is nice, and in a replica of the old gatefold cover. Now, where the cover differs slightly is that on the inside, well, you've got the gatefold bit and the tracks. Obviously, you've got an extra line in here now because you've got to fit when a blind man cries. And the rest of it's pretty much the same, but you've got 4 discs over on this side. So let's have a look at what's on the discs and see who they might be aimed at. This is where it gets puzzling for me, and I sort of think I just wish they'd put that Dweezil Zappa remix out on its own, just as an ordinary Machine Head 2024 remix by Dweezil Zappa, 25, 30, 35 quid, whatever it wanted to be, and then people could have made up their mind whether they wanted to buy it. Putting it in with all this other stuff, for one, has made it too expensive for a lot of people, and has also resulted in a lot of people having to buy a lot of stuff they've already got to get a few bits they haven't got, which is a bit naughty. First of all, you've got a gig from 1972, live at the Rainbow Theatre, I think, for the BBC in concert. Now, that came out in 1980. Here it is there, look. BBC in concert. What about that for 80, 81, something like that? I've had it for 40 odd years. Okay? There's a bootleg of it. One of the Souls Will Never Die. I've had that even longer. It's not complete, but it's there. It got the old remix treatment and it came out again a few years ago. And there it is there. Deep Purple in concert, 1972. So, it's already been out, and of course it's on CD as well. So it's already been out a number of times. Most Deep Purple fans that want that have got it already. Yes, it's got the Smoke on the Water track, which wasn't on this one. We left off that one. And it's got the Maybe I'm a Leo sound check, which was put on a 7-inch single for some bizarre reason on that one. So it's sort of different in the fact that it's all there together, but it doesn't justify paying a fortune for it again, which is what people have to do. But when this was released, it was being slated at $89.99. It went to $99.99 before it came out. It went down to $79. I'm talking in English pounds here, by the way. A couple of days after, I don't know what it's at now. I haven't looked. But that's what you got on the first disc. 72, BBC in concert, highly promoting the Machine Head album, or a live version of, what we said before, Maybe I'm a Leo and Never Before, so they didn't play all that often. So it's worth having. But as I said, most hardcore Purple fans have already got it, and it's readily available to everybody else at a decent price at the moment already. So that's that one. Then you've got the disc that got everybody excited in the Deep Purple camp, in the Deep Purple sort of hardcore collectors. When this was announced, initially people were quite enthusiastic, especially when they knew there was a gig for Montreux from 1971, which wasn't commercially available. I think it's been around on bootleg for years, but you couldn't buy it legally in a shop anywhere. And a lot of people were excited about that. Now, if you are a hardcore Deep Purple fan like me, and you have got tons and tons of Deep Purple bootlegs, and you know what bootlegs sound like, then you know what you're getting. Now, I've got plenty of Deep Purple bootlegs that sound far, far better than this disc. I've got some that sound worse, but I've got plenty that sound better. The sound is patchy. The tape breaks a number of times, so you've got breaks in the songs. which again is okay for somebody like me or a hardcore Deep Purple fan who is listening to because they like hearing all the differences between all the different versions. They like to hear the interplay between Blackmore and Lord, and they like to hear the fact that Gillan might sing it a little bit different on each time. But for your casual fan, they are going to put that on, and if they get all the way through it once, they're probably never going to play it again, because it's not something that you are going to think, oh, I'm going to play that and listen to that, because that's not what it is, because the sound isn't good enough. Then, on the fourth disc, you've got a Dolby Atmos mix, and you've got the American Quad mix, and you've got a couple of 5.1 mixes. But you can't put them in your CD player and play them. You've got to play them on a Blu-ray player, which means for quite a lot of people playing it through a completely different system to the one they normally play stuff through. So are they going to bother? Probably not, is the answer. So I don't think, and this is my only beef with it, I don't think there is any group of Deep Purple fans that this is going to entirely satisfy, because the hardcore collectors like me are going to say, yeah, it's nice to have a new mix, Dweezil Zappa mix, it's a different take, that's good. It's nice to have that 71 gig, even though the sound quality is not brilliant. If it was around as a bootleg, I'd buy it, so yeah, it's worth having for me. The 72 live disc, I don't need it, I've already got it 3 or 4 times. The Blu-ray disc, don't play Blu-rays, so it's pointless to me. And that's what most other collectors are going to think, I think. Now, your casual fan, he's going to like, or she's going to like, the new mix and the remaster that's on the CD as well. They'll probably like the in concert from 72 if they haven't got it already, but they're not going to necessarily want the rest of it. So it doesn't actually satisfy anybody. So what I think they probably should have done, I think they should have put the Dweezil Zappa remix out as a standalone thing, and they should have put Montreux 71 out as a standalone thing, and then they could have done a proper box set where they got the Roger Glover mix, the remix, the Roger Glover mix, the Dweezil Zappa mix, and the original mix, and a remaster all in together. 4 records, 4 LPs in a box. Deep Purple fans would pay for that. You know, the casual fan might pay for it as well, because they know what they're getting. They've just recently done all those ones of the Who, haven't they? With goodness knows how many records in there, and the Who fans are lapping them up. This is what Deep Purple fans want to see with these reissues. 50th anniversary, they've missed it now, haven't they? The 50th anniversary of Ian Rock's gone, and Fireball's gone, and Machine Head is gone 2 years too late. They should be doing Burn and Stormbringer this year. That's what we want to see. Even with those Black Sabbath ones where they put a concert in there with it as well, they're all sort of relevant, if you like, to what's going on. And I think a lot of Deep Purple fans have been looking enviously over their shoulders at things like those Black Sabbath box sets and like the Who one that's just come out, and maybe even like the Led Zeppelin ones, and saying, why aren't our albums getting that treatment? Why do we keep getting all these things where the dates are wrong, and some of the bits are missing, and some of the bits in there are not relevant, and some of it we've already got, and some of it we don't want? There needs to be a little bit more attention to detail, a little bit of more thought goes in to what these things I think. And that is what I think most people's problem with this package is. I think it's the package that's the problem, not necessarily the remix. It is not worth £75 to anybody, this box set, at all. I'm sorry, it isn't. There are plenty of people who can't afford to spend £75 on a record. It's too expensive, especially when the majority of people are not going to want all of it. They're only going to want half of it. That's the mistake they've made in my mind. Was it a mistake letting Dweezil Zappa do a remix? No, I don't think it was. I think it's good. It's got its plus points. It's a worthy listen. It's nice and gives you a few different ideas. You hear a few bits that are different. It takes a bit of getting used to. Of course it does. If you've got a favourite meal or a favourite drink or something, and the people that make it change the recipe, for the first few times you hate it, oh, it's not as good as it used to be, it doesn't taste like it used to, but you'll get used to it. And unlike that, this isn't replacing anything. They're not throwing away the original, they're not throwing away the Roger Glover mix. You can have them as well. It's extra. Well, you've got to pay for it, but it's an extra mix. And for somebody like me, who this is their favourite album, has already got umpteen copies of it already, it's worth its place. I just wish, for the sake of everybody, it had been released as a standalone thing and it had been 30 quid. And then everybody could have had a go at it, couldn't they, rather than what they have charged for it. Because it isn't the super deluxe definitive edition, I'm afraid, which is what it could have been. So it's a missed opportunity in some ways, but it's a lot better than a lot of people are giving it credit for. So I've got a funny feeling that this might end up easy to get hold of, maybe in sales and second hand, because a lot of people are saying that they don't like it that much. That I could see a few people moving it on. So I would say hold on to your cash for now, unless you're desperate for it. But it's judging it on the musical content and what's in the box, rather than what it's costing. I would say the Dweezil Zappa remix is a worthy thing to have if you're a Deep Purple fan. If you've never heard Deep Purple before, then you'll probably love it as well. The In Concert 72 is a nice thing to have if you haven't already got it, but a lot of people already will have, and if you've already got it, you don't need this version. The 71 live set is for Deep Purple fans only, really. It's completist type stuff. Your casual fans not going to want that. And the Blu-ray and whatever is pretty much pointless. The fourth disc, of course, is the Dweezil Zappa remix on a disc, and they've managed to put a remaster on as well, so they're both on the same CD. Bizarrely, as I said before, they put the When a Blind Man Cries in between Lazy and Space Trucking on the vinyl, but on the CD they've put it on the end, and they haven't put it on the remaster at all. So again, there's a little bit of try and make your mind up and be consistent. I think that's what a lot of people are saying about this. It's not consistent. It's not 50-year anniversary. I think they're even using that 50 thing for the tour that's happening soon as well. And the only thing is 50 years of a 50-year anniversary of this year for Deep Purple is the first recording output of the Mark III lineup and the California Jam. So what that's got to do with Ian Gillan and Roger Glover, goodness only knows. So they must be thinking, well, what are they doing this for? We weren't even around then. We'd gone. So anyway, there you go. That's where I sit on it. So I would say I'm in the positive camp rather than the negative camp. Just wish they'd have made a better job of the package, and the price point would have been a little bit better and would have drawn more people in. Because I think what's going to happen is, I think the more you listen to the Dweezil Zappa mix, the more you're going to like it, or for certain people, the less you're going to hate it. See you next time.
What's your opinion of the remix and the package as a whole? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.